Welcome to the iDefine TV Business Spotlight series, where I, your host, CF Jackson, get to bring to you some of the most inspiring and informative guests. And today we have with us Sarah L. Whyte, who is the #1 best-selling author of Hey You, Be Your Authentic Self, dedicated to helping women embrace their authenticity, hey, and live with confidence. She believes that true self-confidence and fulfillment comes from within and focuses on guiding women to show up as their genuine selves through confidence, courage, and commitment. Sarah's passion lies in empowering women to rediscover their worth and create a life aligned with their true identity. Along with her book, she is building a meditation community featuring her own guided meditations designed to support women on their journey to inner peace, self-acceptance, and authentic living. Welcome, Sarah, to the iDefine TV Business Spotlight series. Glad to have you.
Thank you so much, CF. It's a pleasure to be here with you today.
I'm excited to have you because it's always a good time to be authentically you. And I was sitting there thinking to myself, like, what's going on with this world today? And I was thinking to myself that people wake up every day going through life's motion, work, relationships, family, health, finances, all that kind of stuff. But in these motions of life, how are people missing out on being their authentic self from within? It's going through the hustle and bustle of life.
Yeah, I think that one of the biggest things is that people don't take time to prioritize themselves and they're taking care of everybody else. Like you said, like they're going to work, they're taking, care of the kids, their husband, all of the things. But within our own selves, it's really important that we take time to get connected with ourselves, right? And a lot of times people who don't have, or I shouldn't say have, but people who don't know their own identity or their purpose is that they're so busy filling their life with things to do, and I must go here, and I can't just sit and just be with themselves. And I think that that is a really, really big thing that people struggle with.
Yeah.
And I think that, once you can kind of like sit and take time for yourself and be in that stillness and know, like, hey, it's actually really fun to be with myself, right? People can really start to live their life for themselves and then adapt with all of the things that they have, going on, such as their children and their husband and their parents and their grandchildren and so forth.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, I may have a shortcut because I grew up as an only child, so therefore I know how to be with myself, But then, he stated, and I often know I know you help women, but I noticed that mostly men have a challenge. I don't know women, but I know men have a challenge as they get older, don't know how to sit still. They got to be doing something. But when you say connecting with your inner self, how does one go about it? You say sit still, but is there anything particular that you share or show that? Someone said, okay, I do a lot. I'm constantly, today kids are much more active than the kids when we were coming up. Parents got kids in 5 different events and going back from just down the street, but they're driving like 40 miles away to these activities. What does that look like for somebody who, especially a mother or a single mother or a wife or daughter who's trying to get connected with themselves?
Yeah, so I think one of the biggest things, and I talk about this throughout my book, is that when we can really sit with ourselves and get connected with ourselves, we have a lot of thoughts that run through our head throughout the day. They say about 60,000 thoughts run through our mind.
Yeah.
And so when we can actually sit and get connected with ourselves, we start to feel things within ourselves that maybe we've buried deep down inside somewhere, maybe in childhood or when we were a teen or whatever it might be. And I believe that, people start to stuff this stuff inside of them, and then they don't allow for it to come out and release out of their body, right? So then they start to fill their life with going to soccer practice and doing this and taking the kids and my husband. But when you actually start to sit with yourself and you start to think and you just start to be in that moment, things can start to come up for you and you start to kind of process those things. And one of the biggest things that I talk about in the book, in the very beginning, is getting connected with yourself and your inner being and all of the emotions and the things that go on inside of you. Because when you heal any type of part of you
Yeah.
that might need to be healed, you can truly be your authentic self, right? You can get connected with yourself, which then means you're more connected with your children. You have more vulnerable conversations with your children. You listen to their needs and their wants rather than just, pushing it to the side and not really listening. And I think that that is really key when we're stepping into being connected with ourselves is like, okay, what is it that I need? What is it that Sarah needs in this moment? And then you allow those things to present themselves because they will show up.
Yeah.
And then that's how you really start to notice, like, okay, this is what I need. This is what I'm being told. Like, this is what is coming up for me. And I think once people start to really get connected with themselves in that way, a whole new world and a whole new light opens up for them.
It's interesting you said that because it could be scary to start really dialing in and really asking what you need. What do I want? What's in the picture for me? And sometimes people can kind of run from it because of the fact it's easier to be out on the outside helping everyone else rather than filling your cup up yourself. You kind of let you running on fumes with little drippets in your cup, but you're trying to help everybody else. But if someone's feeling kind of timid, what can they do? I mean, because that's a challenging thing for people. I never thought about it because again, I have a shortcut. I'm an only child. I understand self-awareness, and it's a big thing when you're self-aware. It does open up a lot of opportunities where you're like, oh, it's not their fault. I allowed myself to get mad at the road rage on 285. I should have, because it's easy to blame somebody else, but at the end of the day, it's like, it's within ourselves to be in that a sense of alignment and at space of being peaceful. But people are scared of that. Do you recognize that women are scared of going in and answering those hard questions or even simple questions of themselves because they're servers?
Yes, I do. And I've been there before, right? We all have fallen short of that.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I've done to help me throughout this process was I created a morning routine for myself. Being a busy entrepreneur and, an author and creating a meditation community for people, I really find that it's really important for you to allow yourself time first thing in the morning when you get up to take
Wow.
care of just you, whether it's even if it's only 15 minutes that you have, right? Everybody has 15 minutes in the morning to take care of themselves. And so really starting to think through like what does that morning routine look like for you? Mine is, I take care of myself in the morning. I meditate first thing, I journal, and then I also write three things that I'm grateful for. And when you do this, it allows you to start to feel better about yourself and also not feel guilty if you're not filling your cup up, right? And you're filling everybody else's cups up. So it allows you to give yourself self-love and self-care first thing in the morning before you do anything else. And I think if busy moms or entrepreneurs are not doing that,
Mhm.
it's really key to just start by doing that, right? Go the 1 week and see how it makes you feel. And then you're going to see like, oh, wow, like I'm starting to fill my cup up. I'm feeling really good. And then you don't carry the weight of so much stress on you, as you go about your day and things that might have bothered you before, they start to lessen and you notice that they don't bother you as much because you're actually taking care of you and you're showing up authentically for yourself.
Yeah.
And I say, how can you show up authentically for yourself, right? And then how can you, if you're not showing up authentically for your own self, then how can you show up for people in your life being authentic? It
Okay.
starts within us, right? And so I find that, when you start doing that, then you are living your life authentically and authentically with others, you're showing up.
Mhm. It's a lot. That's true. And it's, so funny because I do the meditation in the morning and take her up on it because I tell you, I recognize that things that were normally those triggers that you have, and sometimes have those hot things that get you kind of outside yourself sometimes, or not just outside yourself, but just kind of fuming. They have lessened so much, or even as obsolete because of that 15-20 minute of meditation in the morning to set the foundation for the day. You pretty much like you brush your teeth, well, brush your spirit inside, your mind, and all that good stuff, and get that all cleansed up so you can get your day off right. Now, we talk about your book, and it's before we talk about how you started, it's one part of the book I really love that I want to talk about is that how you set your home up. Because people go about, they come and go inside their homes, but not thinking the importance of how it's designed, or they do the designing part, but how it can make you feel. And I love that you usually share with the viewers about building your chateau, building the space that's really going to resonate because you got your inner side you got to take care of, but that home helps fulfill you, growing the inside as well. You just want to just live there, but you want to make sure it's impacting and supporting you on your journey.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I one thing I do talk about is, building your chateau as you saw. And for me, being at home is like my comfort zone, my space. I'm a homebody. I love to be at home. And it's one of the places where I can really get connected and feel at peace. I've created a Zen, my home is Zen, right? I've created that space for myself. And so when I was writing the book and I thought about all the different areas in my life, and places in my home that I've been, I thought, oh my gosh, this is like so amazing. People can like take their home as a foundation, right? And then it's just like in our life, like we build that foundation, from the ground up, where we start like with boundaries at our front door. So when people come into our home, we get to create how people treat us, right? We get to create like how our friends come in or our parents, show up in our home, and how we get to create that space, for and invite them in to that space. And so for me, I'll kind of touch on this because it's one of my favorites, in the book. I talk about the kitchen and how the kitchen is one of my favorite places because it's one of the places where you can kind of get spicy, by adding your spices to your food and all the little flavors that you want. But you can also like get, try new recipes and try new friends, right? Like it's kind of building that foundation the same way. Like so you might have friends or people in your life that served you at one point in your life that maybe no longer serve you anymore, but you can't let go of that. So what happens is you're not being your authentic self, right? By releasing what is no longer serving you. So I use this analogy for people who, might be struggling in particular areas in their life. And I tell them, I share with them, and there's a worksheet in the beginning of the book on a QR code that you can scan where you can create your own chateau and you can create each room is a different space and a different level for you. And what does that look like, as you create that for yourself? And so I share the kitchen one a little bit because that one is kind of like the fun. I love to dance, and just be all like happy in the kitchen. But it's like, it's times that like, your food might come out burnt and it
Yeah.
might not be what you thought it was going to be, or maybe it was a little too spicy. And, and it's the same way in life, right? Like a friend might have treated you a certain way. And, just like that food became burnt, that friend acted a certain way to you too. And so, kind of mixing the metaphor and the analogy together as you're building your chateau can be really fun for you to really start to build, what that you want within your own home and your own space, and then authentically show up each day, in that space with your family, your friends, or whoever might be there.
I mean, it's just wonderful. And one of my favorite spaces is the kitchen because, like you stated, everything you stated, I get to. test out things, try the different things. I have made many dishes that was just like, oh my gosh. Sometimes I've tried to make myself eat it because I don't know what's all these ingredients, and I can't make it through it because it just does not match. But I think that is a perfect analogy because we all have a home. Thank God for those who do. That you start looking at that and start plugging and playing and how you can really elevate that self. So let me ask you this. You have this awesome book, and I want to know, how did it come out? How did you decide? What made you write the book? What was the transition within yourself? Were you saying, hey, you be your authentic self? Was that saying something to yourself, or were you speaking to other people? How did this book come about?
Yeah, so I knew that I always, since I was a kid, I always wanted to write a book. I never knew what it was going to be about, but I knew that I wanted to write a book. And so it kind of stemmed from a few things. So I lost my father to cancer in 2017, which was the hardest thing that I have ever gone through in my life. And during that time, I was really stuck and I felt lost on a lot of things. I was in a relationship that was not serving me, and I wasn't showing up as my authentic self. And I just was searching for something so badly to be able to get unstuck. And so during that time, I just kept going through the motions and going through the motions. And then I had the courage, the beginning of 2020, to release what was no longer serving me in my life and start fresh. And then COVID hit. And as we know, COVID-19 was a very tough time for people, especially me at that point in my life. I was that busy, on the go entrepreneur, going here, going there, couldn't sit with myself. And so I really started to learn to have to be at home. That's why I love being at home now. And I started really going through a massive transformation in my life. And I started to show up, doing meditations. I started journaling my thoughts. I started sitting with myself. And then when I really started showing up, for my true self and taking care of me instead of taking care of everybody else around me, I was able to really authentically, genuinely show up not only for myself, but for others in my life. And so I started creating and manifesting things that I had wanted for so long. And they just started appearing because I was there. Like, they say when the teacher will arrive, or the student, there's an analogy. When the teacher,
When the student's
when
ready, the teacher will appear.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
And so that's how I felt. And that's what I was going through. And so, I really took the time to write the book. I started it in 2021. It took me almost 3 years to write. It was experiences that I had gone through and the various transformation that I started to experience. And I wanted to share it with others because I didn't want people to feel like they were alone. I wanted them to know that we all go through things in life. We all feel stuck at some point or another. We might be living an inauthentic life. We might not know what our purpose is or, what we're here to do. And so when you're able to become aware of those thoughts and what you're experiencing, you have the choice and you have the ability to make the changes in your life, and you're able to create the life that you want and the life that you desire.
Exactly. I love it because it's important that we have one life. There's only one you, so you got to live it while you're here and do it to its fullest. I mentioned this. So why is this book so impactful and important right now for women? Because this is a great time to be a woman. I guess you can say anytime's a great time, but why is your book so impactful and right now for women?
Yeah, I think, we live in some really challenging times right now. And I believe that we need more women in the world who are their true authentic selves, and they're showing up and they're serving and they're helping other people. Because when they're true with themselves and they show up serving others, they help others become more confident in their abilities. And they show that, hey, you're worthy of this life. We all are worthy of this life.
Yeah.
And I think that, more and more women are becoming entrepreneurs. And, the days of like being a stay-at-home mom and, your husband's the breadwinner and all of these things, society is changing and more women are starting their own businesses and they're also raising families at the same time. So they're doing both. And I believe that women should stand up and help empower other women and support each other in their endeavors and in whatever challenges that they might be facing, because we can all relate to those things. And we can, even if my book impacts, one person or five people and it changes their life, to
Yeah.
me, like that is so important for me because I'm allowing other women to show up and to be themselves and to release whatever they need to release in their life to truly feel the joy and happiness that resides within them.
Awesome. I love it because it is a great time to really be yourself. And your book is, I'm telling you, scan the QR code because it's laid out so beautifully that people can you walk them through it. It's so visual, intentional, and it's really a time to really, if you're challenged with something, it's one to step in yourself. It's a great time to do it. Not only you have the book, but also you have a community that help them with in terms of one of my favorite things in the morning is meditation. So share with our viewers about the meditation community. And again, that's one of your morning things that you get started with. So you're going to give that in terms of helping people, let them know that here, this is your opportunity to get started. And if you want to start with the book, but start the community or probably meditating. Somewhere in the midst of it, you get an opportunity to connect with Sarah so she can share with you how to become your authentic self.
Yeah, so I started this community, the meditation community. It's called Serenity Within. And it was a need that I was looking for as I was going through my meditations and trying to find meditations that I wanted.
Yeah.
And so it kind of birthed from that. And I talk about it in the book as well as how important meditation is. So within this community, it's like-minded individuals who are looking for meditations and then also can connect with people on a deeper level. So I post uh, meditations within the group that I have carefully crafted, and I walk through these guided meditations. So there's new ones that I post each week. And you can go in and you can click on whatever is serves you for that day, whether you're looking for patience or forgiveness or whatever it might be. And you can click on it and you can listen to the meditation at your own time. As well as I do educate, I have a library of foundational videos in there that talk about like meditation and various things that you can do throughout the meditation process, and then just also learning to live a more balanced and peaceful, calm life. And then there's also a live Q&A sessions each month where people can come into the live Q&A. They can ask me questions. We can talk about various topics and then we can support each other within this group. So it's not just about the meditations. There's also a level of support and guidance within there. Within the meditation group. And so it really serves as a great community for people to, get grounded with one another on their journeys.
Wow. It's like it's comprehensive. I mean, everything you think of, you have someone to talk with. If you need some time alone just to breathe, you have some resources there. So it's really a great community to come to begin to build your authentic self and moving forward. Now, before we get out, because the time is moving by, I want to ask you this question that most people I think are challenged with that you discuss also in your book is about setting boundaries, and you mentioned that a little bit of that because I think sometimes women have a challenge with setting boundaries. Do you believe that setting boundaries help keep you aligned with yourself? Because I think again, people are challenged with saying not knowing how to say no or how to keep people out of their space. Can you share that a little bit about that with like another minute or so?
Yeah, so boundaries is was something that was very hard for me because I really, like you, I grew up as an only child and I was with my mom and she didn't really create those boundaries. And so when I got older, I had a very hard time creating boundaries with other people in my life. And I learned that very quickly that if you do not set boundaries, people will take advantage of you. They will walk all over you and they will use you as long as you allow them to. And so when you start to create boundaries, which it can be very challenging and it's a process, so it doesn't just happen overnight. But
Yeah.
when you start to create those boundaries for yourself and you set those expectations in place with others, they start to respect you and your boundaries. And you can do it in a polite way where you say, hey, I respect, what you're saying to me, but at this point in time, I would like to give you some feedback if that's okay. So you ask them for permission to give feedback and
Mm,
just politely say if that's okay with you. And then you say, this is not serving me and X, Y, and Z way. I would, now going forward, I need to do X, Y, and Z, right? So when you're setting these expectations, you're first, like, you're not going in saying, well, I'm not going to do that. No, da da da. You're just listening to the other person.
mm,
And then you're saying, I'm hearing you. Is it okay if I have permission to give you some feedback as I'm listening to you? Then you kind of phrase what they said,
yeah.
and then you go in and you create that expectation going forward. And that's a very powerful way to do it because you're not pushing up against them,
Yeah.
but rather you're setting the tone saying, hey, I'm listening to you, I hear you. And, going forward, this is what I think will serve both of us.
Mm. That's only a snippet. We only have half an hour with Sarah. You can get and she's already dropped a lot of gems here, and we didn't even touch this. We didn't even get to the surface of the book. So I'm telling you, you got to get a copy of the book. You got to be part of her community because now is always a great time to become fully who you're purposed to be and become all you're supposed to have and do all that great stuff because your home got its part of it, setting boundaries, meditating, starting your morning off right. Again, and she has a whole lot more in the pages of this awesome book. So, Sarah, it has been a delight having you because you have dropped so many gems, and no matter what time of the year it is, beginning, middle, to end, connect with her, scan the QR code, and become part of the community and become part of you if you know somebody who you think would be a great source or would need this source of a book in her community. Let them know because she's here for it. So we have like 30 seconds. Do you want to share one last little snippet to my viewers and give us some inspiration? Because you already inspired me. I'm looking like Sarah's getting it. This is some great stuff. She's gonna preach in a moment, but I really enjoy it. This is a great book.
Yeah, no, it's been a pleasure speaking with you today. And, just sitting here, being in your presence has been, such a beautiful thing. And, I just really, it's very important for me to just really touch women and, let them know that, they're not going through this alone in life and that, we're all here to support one another and, you are worthy of having everything that you want in life. It's all up to you. You get to choose it. So,
Awesome. Again, it's been a pleasure, Sarah, having you today. Thank you so much for being here today.
yeah, thank you.
My pleasure again. This is CF Jackson with iDefineTV.com. To the next time, we are out of here. Boundaries, meditating, starting your morning off right. Again, and she has a whole lot more in the pages of this awesome book. So, Sarah, it has been a delight having you because you have dropped so many gems, and no matter what time of the year it is, beginning, middle, to end, connect with her, scan the QR code, and become part of the community and become part of you if you know somebody who you think would be a great source or would need this source of a book in her community. Let them know because she's here for it. So we have like 30 seconds. Do you want to share one last little snippet to my viewers and give us some inspiration? Because you already inspired me. I'm looking like Sarah's getting it. This is some great stuff. She's gonna preach in a moment, but I really enjoy it. This is a great book.
Yeah, no, it's been a pleasure speaking with you today. And, just sitting here, being in your presence has been, such a beautiful thing. And, I just really, it's very important for me to just really touch women and, let them know that, they're not going through this alone in life and that, we're all here to support one another and, you are worthy of having everything that you want in life. It's all up to you. You get to choose it. So,
Awesome. Again, it's been a pleasure, Sarah, having you today. Thank you so much for being here today.
Yeah, thank you.
My pleasure. Again, this is CF Jackson with iDefine TV.com. To the next time, we are out of here.